Arise, O man, in thy strength, the kingdom is thine to inherit.
Welcome to our show. Welcome to our show. We're planting seeds inside your head. We surely hope they grow.
This is Duncan Trussell, and you've tuned into the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Welcome to the podcast which President Obama has called my favorite podcast, the podcast that sits on my shoulder like a golden-eyed eagle and whispers great and secret things into my presidential ears. Now let's enjoy Gary Busey and some outtakes from a Chevy Blazer commercial he did a very long time ago.
The new Chevy Blazer. An insecurity in an instant. For the slip. The new Chevy Blazer. When you say okay, what does that mean? Well, see, that's what's happening, because you're not here, man. You're not here. You don't see what I'm doing in here to emote these things the way you've asked me to emote them. Then you say, okay, like you didn't even hear it. So I'm a bit dismayed at this, but this I'll do it. But I think this is pretty low rent producing. That's my opinion. Don't take it personally. I know you're not in control of this. Okay, roll it.
It's 5.
The new Chevy Blazer. The new Chevy Blazer. An insecurity. Fuck. Pardon the F word. The new Chevy Blazer. A little security in an insecure world. The new Chevy Blazer. An insecurity in an... The new Chevy Blazer. I'm sorry, this is it. You got me so confused with throw it away, be more Chevy, now smile. Nothing. You've done your best.
Okay, pals, we got to get this show on the road. But before we get going, let's do some business. The Duncan Trussell Family Hour has a new sponsor. Datsasura Bags. Datsasura Bags. These bags are made from hemp. If you're a time traveler and you're sick of your bags bursting into flames when you make the Magtonian phase shift, these are the bags for you. They can stand the heat that's generated from time travel. If you're like me and you're not a time traveler and you're just sick of the bullies in your neighborhood following you around with magnifying glasses and burning your bags and your skin with the amplified heat of the sun, then these bags are for you. They're black. They belong on the back of ninjas. They're so cool that you don't want to put regular things inside of them. You want to carry around Bibles and throwing stars, bits of plutonium and ancient tomes and manuscripts, incredible marijuana, and remote control devices that allow you to fly drones. If you're a drone operator and you want something to carry around your control unit in, this is the bag for you. These bags are awesome, and they're hemp. That means that they're great for the environment. They last 1,000,000 times longer than any of that crappy shit plastic that all you earth-hating dorks are carrying around your stinky underwear in and your rape ropes. Datsasura bags are bags for ninjas. They're bags for samurais. They're bags for people who want to look as though they can climb up the side of a building if they feel like it. Go to dsgear.com and check out these bags. You'll love them. And if you put in Family Hour, you will get 5% off one of these bags, which is a great deal. It's guaranteed if you don't need a bag, someone around you needs a bag. The world needs more bags. So go to dsgear.com. Help these sweet darlings out because they're supporting the podcast for this episode. Check it out at least. I'm telling you, you'll love these damn bags. dsgear.com. Enter in Family Hour. You get 5% off. Datsasura bags. Which actually means in Japanese, leaving the cubicle life. No joke. Leaving the cubicle life and entering a life where you have a bag filled with rare flower petals, dinosaur bones, and the underwear of your new lover. That's Sasura Bags. Here's some big news, everybody. This upcoming Thursday and Friday, that's September 20th and the 21st, I'm going to be in Madison and Milwaukee with the great Joey Diaz, Mad Flavor himself. Madison and Milwaukee. If you go to DuncanTrussell.com, you can buy tickets for these shows, and you should get tickets because they're going fast. Madison and Milwaukee with one of the funniest people on the planet, Joey Mad Flavor Coco Diaz. And also, I just put up all the dates for a new tour I have coming up in the fall. So if you're in Houston or Austin or Chicago, if you're in any of those places, or Seattle or Portland, go check out my website, click on the dates section, and you can see all the upcoming dates to come and say hello to me out there in meat space. I hope you'll come say hi to me and make love to me late into the night. Please, please do this for me. The Duncan Trussell Family Hour is a proud, drippingly proud member of the Feral Audio Podcast Collective. Feral Audio is a podcast network located at feralaudio.com. There's a lot of great shows on there. Check out Little Weird Adults with Little Esther, Twisting the Wind with Johnny Pemberton, Conversations with Matt Dwyer. A lot of cool stuff happening over there. Go check it out. And if you want to support this podcast, here's what you do. Go to DuncanTrussell.com and bookmark our Amazon portal. Anytime you buy anything through Amazon, they give us 7%. That's one way you can support the podcast. You can also support the podcast by going to audible.com and signing up for a trial membership at audibletrial.com/family hour. audibletrial.com/family hour. You sign up for a trial membership, you get one free audiobook. They give us $15. I highly recommend Sebastian Junger's War as your trial book. Go check that out. Listen to that when you're super stoned, and you will have an anxiety attack that will make your eyeballs roll back in your head and your colon fall out of your mouth. So go try that out. audibletrial.com/family hour. Also, we have a shop with some posters and some other stuff there at DuncanTrussell.com, so check that out. And most importantly, go join the forum. A lot of cool conversations happening there. People are gathering together in meat space. There's a Minecraft server. I'm pretty sure members of the forum are humping at this point, and I'm hoping to get a DTFH baby soon. Got my fingers crossed for that one. Okay, friends, let's get this goddamn show on the road. Today's guest, this is his third appearance on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. He is one of my closest friends. He's a brilliant human being. He's got a flotation tank. He's got his own podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience. He's a master of all forms of karate and an all-around awesome human being. Everyone, please send out your third eyes, your psychic tendrils, your heart energy, love energy, the psychic astral birds that fly inside your soul, and all the entities, demons, and angels that you are capable of controlling out to embrace one of the coolest humans that exists on this planet, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
Powerful Duncan Trussell.
Joe, Joe and I just took a failed trip to try to buy me a wood burning grill so I could learn to grill.
Apparently, ladies and gentlemen, that is a seasonal activity that they just frown upon you buying a new grill in September.
At Costco.
That is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. It is 100 degrees out today.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have a cookout?
We live in California. Costco has everything.
Everything.
Regardless of season. What Costco has shit where there shouldn't be a season for it.
By the way, this is my first trip to Costco today, ever. I'm really sure I haven't. I might have went once many, many years ago, but I blocked it out. But this was my first experience as a grown adult today. It was in Costco, and I thought it was going to be like Target. I was like, I've been to Target. I'm not scared of going to Costco. Yo, that is a different experience.
No, it was a very Hunter S. Thompson moment because we got stoned on some very powerful marijuana called green crack, which I stuffed into one of these purple flavored blunts, like a ridiculous amount, enough to kill an army, enough to destroy an army's in there. But
Enough to kill hopes.
Enough to kill all hope.
Kill hopes and dreams.
Enough to fly from hell and carry hope and feed Satan's baby with a bowl of hope.
If Obama, if he smoked that weed, would have abandoned hope and change, he just went with change. There's no hope. That weed is a hope killer. And so we take this hope-killing weed and we walk into fucking Costco, and it is a Kubrick movie, man. I mean, first of all, Duncan and I are like massaging our own arms because we're like so high and freaked out. We're like holding our hands weird. I mean, not holding each other's hands, but hand in your pocket weird. You don't know. You can't be comfortable because we're so baked. We're so baked, and we're wandering around in Costco.
We're getting like the same result that like 8-year-olds get when they go to haunted houses. It's the same like sense of dread and fear because it's incomprehensible when you see the swarm of your species, the little ants going and picking up the various things that they're getting to take back to their parts of the hive. Yeah. It's fucking weird. And on a weekend, dude, you should see it on the weekends, though, man.
I don't want to see
when
it on the
it's
weekend.
Thick with the buzz of the human fucking hive. Zzz, just buzzing around. They've all got that fucking... They're all in foraging mode. Like, you know that buffet feeling you get where you're at a buffet surrounded by people and the ape part of yourself starts wanting to bare its teeth in a very small way.
Yes.
Because when there's food nearby, there's like an ancient thing inside of you that's like... The same thing where we don't like when someone reaches across our plate.
Yes.
That's like an old dog thing.
It's primal, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's someone wanting your food. That's like prison shit, you know?
Yeah, it's prison shit. It's just a few layers back in the old neocortex.
That's when shit would get real in high school. Somebody fucked with your food. You know, if one of your people that you didn't get along with fucked with your food. That's it. The guy fucked with my lunch.
Yeah.
Guy spit in my sandwich or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I want to spit in his food.
Dudes would do that. I used to work at a Newport Creamery, and I saw people that worked there spit in food and serve it up, and I was like, oh, shit. And by the way, random people. They did it to random people. They didn't do it to enemies.
Oh yeah, that's what happens when fucking teens are working and they're getting paid shit money. You start hating the customers.
Yeah.
You hate them. They're your masters, and you think, why not fucking blow a load of jizz into this 7 layer?
It's so fucked up, man.
Why not add some fucking salt to this goddamn cheeseburger?
What the fuck is wrong with people, man?
How often?
Why do they want to lash out so much?
It's a confusion, is what it is. It's a you misapprehend what the fucking where the universe is coming from, because you think either you think the universe is coming from outside in or inside out or some combination of that. But if you think it's mostly outside in, then you start thinking you have to get into a wrestling match with all of reality, which you are damned. If you do that, you're doomed to failure. You can't wrestle reality. It doesn't work.
It's a very good way of putting it, too. Because that is what happens when people become illogical. It's like they're constantly wrestling with reality. It's like the way they look at things. It's like, what is... Does this you really see that? That's what you really see?
And they do.
And they do,
They do. They're in the wrong terrain, and that's why they're failing. Because how the fuck are you going to do anything? If I ask you to build a simple structure, something as simple as a fucking... putting a post in the ground. If you don't know where the ground is, or you're confused about how the terrain of the ground is, or what the mud's like, or you're pretending that you're bearing the fucking thing in sand instead of mud, every single thing that you do related to making that thing happen is going to fail. So how much more when someone doesn't understand the psychic terrain that they're on, when they don't understand the terrain of their life or who they really are? How much more are they going to fail with complex acts such as friendships or romances or marriages or businesses? Or you're just going to fail again and again and again because you don't know where you're fucking walking on, man.
Yeah, that's why if you've ever run into someone who's like completely and totally full of shit, their life is always in total disarray. Like they are always barely paying their bills,
Yep.
and they're always behind on their rent, and
Yep.
there's always like a need to borrow some money or something. There's always a problem, and it's always the people that are full of shit.
Yes.
It's so hard to be full of shit and be successful.
Well, you want to, yeah, it's very hard, dude. You want to deny though, man, and it's like it's coming from a place of like, because I've been there, brother, and I know what it's fucking like to be in a situation where you're ignoring the
The signs the universe is sending you.
and also you're ignoring how important life is. See, that's one of the first aspects of being deluded is you think that life is not important. And so if you don't think life's important in a real way, then you're not going to make moves that represent you having some care for your own existence.
Right.
So that's fucked up. So you start, placing in front of everything this kind of like foam boundary that separates you from having to interact with life on a real level. You want to always like sit in the sidelines and roll your eyes and pretend that it's whatever, man. This is all just a bunch of fucking, all these people, whatever they think they're doing out there, and everyone's engaged in futile and absurd activities, and I'm not going to join in this fucking game, so I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and be proud of being fucking broke all the time and be proud of my sickness. Whatever the thing is, what my drug abuse or my fucking, whatever the thing is, you start getting proud of your failure.
Really? You think so?
Sure, yeah. I mean, so many people I know make a kind of party out of their failure, because you'll get around, when you're vibrating at that level, you start resonating with people who are also in a shit position.
Well, it's a real drag when you're trying to be a normal, friendly person and you're around someone who's a fatalist and they're drunk. And, I've met some, especially through Stanhope, I've met some fucking losers, some angry losers.
Right.
But when you're around them and they're drunk and you're like, oh my God, like this is ridiculous. Like you fucking child.
You feel like you're talking to Gargamel from the Smurfs, like you're talking to some like dark, glowing cave hole that leads into ice. Yeah, people when they get drunk and are depressed can get really negative about every single fucking thing to the nth degree, and it can be really treacherous if you're weak and you get around that, because you can get pulled into that. Like if you look up to someone like that, you can get sucked into that, and then the next thing you know, you'll find yourself getting in conversations with happy people.
Yeah.
And you'll get annoyed that they're happy. And that's a sign that you're in a real dark place when you start getting annoyed with happy people. Because what you're experiencing is what's called dissonance, because they're vibrating at one frequency and you're vibrating at another frequency. And when you come into contact with them, it creates dissonance in the form of you disliking them and wanting to only be around people who are up to their necks in their own lack of willpower and their own inner disintegration,
Yeah. It's hard watching someone spiral, man. Have you ever watched anybody spiral out on pills? You ever seen that happen?
I've never seen anyone spiral on pills, but I've had the experience of seeing someone and then seeing them a year later after a year of getting into heavy drugs. I guess that's kind of the same thing.
What were the drugs?
Meth, amphetamines.
Oof.
Yeah, so you see the strange way that their cheeks become sunken and their eyes.
That shit's scary as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Meth?
Oh.
Is there anything scarier? Is there anything that like eats people up? quicker than meth?
No,
That
I
seems
don't
to
know.
be the shit.
Maybe that shit in Russia they're talking.
Oh, that crocodile.
Crocodile, which is pills or some kind of bad pills that you're injecting.
Yeah, I think if you want to ruin your life, though, meth is a safe bet. Like, nobody gets through meth. Like, I did a little meth. No big deal.
Yeah, I went through a meth phase. I just went through a little meth phase back in the 80s. That's why my fucking right underneath my scrotum there is a open gaping cyst.
So Duesberg is going to do my podcast.
Who's that?
Dr. Peter Duesberg from the University of California, Berkeley. He's the guy that does not believe that HIV causes AIDS.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's that very controversial guy. So I got to really read up on what the argument for what he's saying is. I don't think I totally understand it enough to be really talking to him about it because I have no genetics.
Isn't his idea that if you party too much, your immune system gets so weakened that you basically just fall apart?
Yeah, the idea is that HIV is a weak virus. I'm completely paraphrasing this. I'm sure no, take it, eat it. That's why I give it to you.
Thanks, dude.
I just gave Duncan some Alpha Brain. He will now appear far smarter than he really is.
We have to do a quick commercial break for one of the greatest companies on planet Earth, Shore Design T-Shirts. Shore Design T-Shirts is located at shoredesignt-shirts.com. They exist in Thailand. Shore Design T-Shirts was conceptualized when the founder of Shore Design T-Shirts, as a teen, touched a vagina for the first time. His direct quote is, "I knew at the moment of feeling the softness of her labia that I could transform this into a t-shirt that people could wear around." The bottom line is this: the vagina is a shirt for babies. It's the shirt that babies grow inside of. And that's where you've spent the first flickering moments of your consciousness emerging into this dimension. Don't you want to know what that feeling's like again? Wouldn't you like to know what it's like to have your upper torso wrapped in a soft vagina when you walk around? Do you want to walk around feeling like you're wearing a trucker's testicles? Or do you want to walk around feeling like you're wearing the soft, untainted vagina of a young lady? Shore Design T-shirts will give you that feeling. You want to know what it's like to do yoga? If you've never done yoga with your upper torso in a vagina, then I can guarantee that you are not limber and loose. How are you going to relax in the yoga studio if you don't feel that you're encased in the softness of a vagina? It's not going to work. Go to shoredesignt-shirts.com today. Order one of these beautiful shirts. Put my name in, you will get 10% off. They also sell a lot of other cool clothes. Go check it out. shoredesignt-shirts.com. They are made with the soft skin located underneath the fingernails of lemur babies found in the jungles of Thailand. And that is no easy task to scoop up lemur babies because their parents get very defensive. And they don't like it when the people from Shore Design T-shirts pop off their fingernails and scrape that soft, sweet lemur baby fingernail skin into bags. Over 100 lemur babies per shirt. You can't beat that. That's a great deal, and you won't find that at American Apparel. ShoreDesignT-shirts.com. Go check them out. You get 10% off if you put my name in.
What were we even talking about? What did you ask me to
Well, we were talking about, Joe, now that I've taken these Alpha Brain, we're talking about whether or not HIV...
Duesberg.
Yeah, Duesberg.
That's right. Jesus Christ.
Strong weed.
Strong, too strong. Anyway, Duesberg's argument is that HIV is a weak virus that only shows up in the systems of people whose bodies are compromised. So the idea is that if you have HIV in your body, it's not because HIV caused your system to be compromised. It's just your system is compromised, and that is why it hasn't fought off HIV. That HIV is not the culprit to AIDS. It's not what causes AIDS. That AIDS is a bunch of different diseases that have been sort of lumped in together. And one of the big issues is people that are taking drugs and partying, and their immune system is getting shattered. And especially, I think they noted ones that are especially prevalent in the gay community, like amyl nitrate. Those are poppers.
Yeah.
And apparently that's like a big thing that gay dudes love to do.
Yeah, it apparently makes your asshole spread out.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I think I heard it from you. So you just are ready to fucking come with that. Is that
Dude,
anybody
if
brings
I know
out
of a
poppers?
thing that makes your asshole widen, and it's a substance, I'm going to mention that's one of the things it does. How do you not say that?
Yeah, it's important to mention.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I have no idea if amyl nitrate makes your anus like fucking stretch out or spread out. If it's like nitrous oxide, I could believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Whatever it does to you, it also gives you fucking brain damage, and it crushes your immune system.
Right.
It's devastating.
Hunter S. Thompson was into that stuff.
I'm sure he was. Look what happened to him. Dude's body completely fell apart. You know, I'm a huge Hunter S. Thompson fan, but he had to get like double hip surgery, and you know, he was a fucking mess, and that's one of the reasons why he killed himself. He was constantly in pain.
Well, yeah, man. What did his suicide note say? Football season's over?
Yeah, can't swim anymore. I guess he couldn't swim because of his hip replacements. The hip replacement is like some really intense shit, if you've ever seen how they do it. And some people it works great, and I've seen them get hip replacements and they walk without even a limp. But in other folks, they get really fucked up by it. It's pretty intense. They cut your bone off, man. They cut the end of your hip off, and they put an artificial one there because the insides of your hip socket have eroded.
Dude,
it's horrific.
It's the fucking worst, man. This is the thing. This is like why this is the thing that like torments me, man. Because I always think, man, you have got to fucking start eating better. Like you've got to watch the way you eat. You have to be so careful. And you spend like the first, maybe not you, but a lot of people spend the first 20 to 30 years of their lives not fucking thinking about this shit. You know, you don't think about it.
And then you have to catch up.
Yeah, then you got to catch up, and then you've got to start taking vitamins, and then you have to start considering the fact that, because when I was a kid, man, I can remember specifically thinking, I'm definitely going to be dead by the time I'm 28. I can remember thinking
He thought
that.
like, well, Hendrix is dead by the time he is 28.
Yes,
I'm going to be dead by the time.
Yeah, rock and roll. Just like,
fade away, man.
no, not fade away.
I'm gonna
bro.
burn out.
I'm gonna burn out, man. But then what happens is like as time progresses, you begin to realize that you don't really want to burn out or fade away. You want to feel good, and that's and you want to feel good.
You want to feel good and you want to enjoy your time.
You want to enjoy your life, man.
Yeah.
And it's like really fucking intense. When you start seeing the result of people who haven't taken care of their goddamn meat bodies, man, because they fucking, it is extreme how much you will fall apart. And once you hit that cascade, you know, suddenly you've got fucking leukemia, diabetes, you know?
It's intense shit, man. Your body falls apart. You got to give it nutrients. It's really simple. You have to give it nutrients. You're crazy if you don't. If you don't eat well and you're like, man, fuck that. Who gives a shit, man? You're going to die anyway. Yeah. You're crazy. You're crazy. You got to regulate that. And by the way, you'll enjoy that shitty food because you've seen me. I still eat cheeseburgers. I'll still eat pizza. But you'll enjoy it way more if the majority of your diet is healthy. Right. You'll appreciate those ventures into the woods like you've earned them. You know, if I drink kale shakes every day, and I take vitamin packs and I eat grass-fed beef and I eat like super healthy and clean, I'll get a fucking cheeseburger every now and again and I'm fine.
Dude, I want to say this on my podcast. I made some of your kale shake and that shit is crazy, dude. That's like, I know I made it I didn't put in fucking coconut oil.
Yeah. That's
holy
important.
Shit. That was definitely terrible tasting because I didn't make it right.
Yeah.
Horrible. Like I had to gag it down. But it made me feel great, man.
It does.
An hour later, I felt I had so much energy.
Yeah.
But it was like drinking like Toxic Avenger shit.
Even when it tastes great, it sucks. You never buy it anywhere.
I see. You have this YouTube video of you making the thing, and what do you say? You say one funny thing you say is, its color should look like the Pope's jizz. Like bright green. Like
that's not the Pope. It was the Hulk.
Oh, the Hulk's just. I thought you
It's
said
Hulk loads.
Oh, that makes more sense. I thought you said
Yeah.
Pope loads.
No.
I'm like,
See, you just automatically go towards religious figures. I go towards superheroes. I go to Marvel Comics, and you go to religion. That's hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
No, it's the Hulk. Hulk loads.
Because I'm sitting there like, how?
The Pope's loads.
Yeah, how does the? That's what I thought. I'm like, the Pope has bright.
He has green demon loads, and they run out scrambling from his cock. They don't shoot out of his dick like a normal ejaculation. It's like an army runs out of the tip of his cock and all down his balls. Then they just attack the land. Just green demons that come out of the tip of his dick.
Dude, can you fucking imagine that?
Barking. Just chasing people. Climbing in their butt. The fuck? You just feel it breaking through your underwear. No. You're trying to get a hold of it, but it's slipping through your fingers.
Your
You little
friend's like,
motherfuckers.
Squeeze
And
your
these
ass. Don't
little
let it in.
greed loads are barking. But they're really tiny. They're so tiny. They're almost microscopic. Like you can sort of differentiate that they're not. It's not like one splash of liquid, but it's
Yeah.
actually a bunch of individuals.
Yeah.
But you just can't. It's too small for you to really wrap your head around. And they're slipping right through your fingers, and they're barking. You hear them.
Way far away, like a pack of dogs far away.
These little barking Pope demon loads are barking and running into your asshole, and you can't keep them out. No, you motherfuckers! Then you feel them in your body just biting the inner tissue. Oh, Jesus. And they're going to slowly eat you away. It's going to take fucking years, though. You're just going to rot out from the inside. That's the Pope demon load plague.
You got Pope dogs.
Yeah, just
boy.
little bulldogs where it's all mouth and little tiny legs, and they're just eating inside your ass. Inside your ass. They're eating you out from the inside out.
Just kill yourself now.
And that's what, dudes think you're farting. It's not. You just open your ass and the echo of 1,000 billion barking demon Pope loads who are also reproducing inside you. They're fucking each other. That's the thing about demon Pope loads. They don't just fuck eggs. They can actually reproduce in your asshole. They can just fuck each other. And they're like salamanders. They just pick a sex. What do you want to be? Male, female? I don't give a fuck. Let's keep going. And they just reproduce inside your asshole and bark and slowly eat you from the inside out like an Easter egg. Like one of those chocolate Easter eggs that's hollow on the inside. That's what eventually you're barely holding on. You've got like 4 brain cells on the top of your head, and they've left you. You're crawling around your trailer to get your whatever remaining canned goods you have left that are in there. And you're moving like one of those inflatable beach things that like a kid would get on, like a unicorn. That's what you're moving like. You're like one of those, just trying to slink across your floor. Well, they still haven't taken you out because they want to eat you so slowly. See, it only benefits them. They got to keep you around as long as possible because once you go bad, then they can't eat you anymore. Yeah. So the demon Pope loads want to make sure that they just keep you alive as long as possible.
They try to maintain you.
The safest way to do that is to just slowly eat you until you become like just an outer shell.
But this is the thing, man. When you walk into someone's house who's died of Pope loads,
yes,
he looks like one of those deflated children's bouncy houses, just kind of sunken in, falling over.
Exactly.
Maybe still like he can still look at you a little bit. His eyes can still move, but he's immobile.
And then the demon Pope loads, once they run out of his body, they don't just die in the sun like vampires. They run to the neighbor's house. They ring his doorbell. They get up together. They climb on top of each other until they can reach the doorbell. They go ding dong.
That's not what they do.
The lady opens up the door. She's like, "There's no one here." Boom! The Pope loads fly into her asshole.
This is a common misconception, actually, because I just read a whole book on Pope loads. What they do is they fly into the ears of 9-year-olds and then 9 to 12-year-old boys who are just able to come. And then when the Pope sucks them off, the Pope loads go back inside the Pope to rest in his balls until they shoot out again.
That makes sense.
That's how Pope loads come home, is through the balls of 12-year-olds.
That they go throughout the world fucking people in their ass until they rot away like an inflatable raft.
Yes.
And then they leap to the next host, and they do it over and over again until the Pope sucks little boys' dicks.
And gets them back in. That's how they go home. It's called going home.
Well, it totally makes sense. You just look at the way he's dressed. Something's up. Why does he have a big fish head on top of his hat? What is that? Giant fish head hat. That crazy fish head?
Well, all that stuff comes from probably a combination of psychotics making up weird stuff and mostly Gnostic rituals, old fucking rituals, old ceremonies, old shit that maybe traces all the way back to the Egyptians.
Right.
Because it's fun to like talk to Catholics and ask them the root of their communion ceremony. When you ask them, where does the mass? Who made up the steps to this dance? Like,
right.
Who made this up?
Right. And
the answer is it comes from it's an occult ritual that you're watching, which is when you go to church, everyone who's like scared of magic and like the occult, when you go to church and you watch the incantations that are happening in Latin over fucking magic books with incense and candles burning.
Dude.
That's an occult ritual.
No doubt, right?
That's an occult ritual.
Yeah, when a guy's walking through the aisle with incense and shaking it through the air, and he's talking in a dead language,
yes.
And he's doing some shit that was invented back when people thought the world was flat, which, by the way, was cannabis. When they burned that incense, that was they burned cannabis. They had dried cannabis, and they would put it in these metal things, and they would walk around and waft the cannabis through the crowd, and the whole crowd would get high. And that's not stoner speculation either. That is allegedly done by really sophisticated, people who have actually like researched the history of cannabis use.
I've got a great book on it. I'll post the link. It's out of print, but you can get copies. It shows how many ceremonies, most magical ceremonies, involve some form of intoxicant.
Someone told me, I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry, I can't credit them, but that the actual hats themselves, those little yarmulke things,
yes,
that initially what they would do is cover them with hemp oil, and then they would shave their heads. And in opening up the pores to shave their heads and putting the hemp oil on top of that area, it would absorb into their body.
Sure.
It'd absorb in through the skin, like a lot of drugs would if you have open pores.
Dude,
that sounds crazy, but I mean, if you take hemp oil, just little tiny drops in your mouth, you will get fucking blasted.
Yeah.
If you rubbed a bunch of it on your hat and put it on, you sweat, and we're out there like doing things. Holy shit, that would probably be pretty intense.
Dude.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, this is the fucking... See, what happens is, so now...
Where's that wine, son?
I'll grab something. Let me pause.
Pause that shit. Salute, my friend.
Salute.
Salute. We had to replenish our glasses, ladies and gentlemen.
But here's the thing, dude.
By the way, first of all, let me just state that we were, when we started this podcast, way too high to be talking in public. Just way too high.
Oh, yeah.
We got to try 2 hits. 2 hits, then Costco. When we get to the 4 hits, 4 hits is don't move.
Well, this is the problem with these goddamn Cyclone purple fucking wrappers is it tastes like candy, so you want to keep smoking it. It's especially when those wrappers are for like not green crack. Green crack is too good. LASpeedweed.com, by the way, free plug for my friends over there. They supply green crack. If you're in LA, they'll drive to your house. But here's the thing, dude. So we have this ritualistic use of psychedelics in a show, right?
Uh-huh.
Where you get the popes wandering around, you get this awesome chanting, you get incense, you get a light show, right?
Right.
So the modern day equivalent to that, of course, is the fucking rock concert, the rave. It's the exact same instinct, which is I'm going to take psychedelics and I'm going to fucking watch somebody channel the spirit of the universe through fucking rock or through music or through whatever event you've gone to. It's the exact same idea. It's just that at a rock show, nobody admits that they're engaged in a cult ritual. They don't realize the fact that when they get stoned so that they can open their mind and fully take in whatever the music is, that's a spiritual act. And that's trying to commune with the crowd. And at a really great fucking rock show, when you're out of your mind, fucking blasted, and you see a great performer, and they hit that song, like whatever the song is, it might as well be a goddamn religious experience. It's fucking incredible when you see it. Or a great comic, like Carlin.
Yeah, Carlin clearly could change your way of looking at anything he talked about.
Yes. So it's like, this is one of the big tragedies of the drug war, is that people have, if you tell someone, I love to get stoned and go to a Gnostic Christian church to watch the Mass when I'm baked.
Uh-huh.
they will say to you, what the fuck are you talking about? You get stoned on a Sunday to go to church? It's like, fuck yes, I do. Absolutely.
You're a weird motherfucker, though, dude. You know, I'll get stoned. I'm not going to some crazy church, okay? I might get stoned and watch some documentaries, but that would freak me out too much to be around those people if I'm high.
No, dude, this is the...
You enjoy the shit out of it. I know you do.
It's taking it to the nth degree. It's like, it's fun to get stoned, and it's fun to do anything. But what about getting stoned and opening your consciousness, like really dilating your consciousness, and then taking in the flow of an occult ritual?
Dude, nobody wants that in their life. Nobody wants an occult ritual in their life.
Oh, they're beautiful.
You're so fucking crazy. Most people just want to have a good time.
That is a good time.
This is my solution. We got to get all of these Republican, crazy, corporate sponsored dudes. We got to get all of those guys and let them know how much of a benefit marijuana would have in their life for their own personal happiness. And it doesn't mean you can't engage in business. It doesn't mean you can't, it doesn't mean you can't date. It doesn't mean you can't drive whatever car you want. It's not what it means. But to be involved in a regular use of something that makes you very sensitive, it makes you hypersensitive to communication, to touch, to social exchanges. I mean, it makes you very, very sensitive. And during those periods of extreme sensitivity, even if you want to call it like overreacting or being paranoid, I really find benefit in those experiences. I learn a lot about myself in those experiences, and I represent what a lot of people, when you talk about, like, what is the government, like, what do they represent? When you're talking about, like, who are they? These are the people that are supposed to be running the world. They're supposed to be in positions where they can tell you, I'm here to enforce things. I can grab you. I can lock you up. I can take you to jail. I can do all these different things for you. Who better than they should be calmed down and introduced to a deeper feeling of love and respect for each other? Because that's the one, if you're in the position of power, it's like those Stanford, was it Stanford they did that study where they had an artificial prison going on, and they had the prison guards. They were all students, and the students who were prison guards became abusive assholes. And these were fucking college students, man. It's almost like it's a natural situation that we get into where someone is in control. They're in control. They abuse that control. They have power over you. They become unfair. And it's just, they need it more than anybody. No one needs psychedelics more than the people that are stopping us from taking psychedelics for their own benefit. And they have to understand that, though, and it's not coming from a fucking hippie. It's not coming from someone illogical. It's coming from someone who's telling you they've personally benefited, and you can, too. You crazy pill-popping, scotch-drinking assholes. You know you're not happy. You know you are fucking nuts. If you're really saying we're going to arrest anybody who's running a medical marijuana license, it doesn't mean anything federally, we're going after them, we're going to go in guns, but you are just as crazy as J. Edgar Hoover was. You are just as crazy as every other person throughout fucking human history that has abused their power. And don't think that you just put one person in jail or 3 people in jail. It's just as bad. You just didn't have the power to put any more in jail, you crazy asshole. There's real police work to dedicate your life to. Real police work. You can really go out there and make a difference in a lot of different areas. You know where you can't? Weed. You fucking dummy. You're trying to pretend that you're out there serving and protecting, and you're getting that cheap, easy collar, just knocking down the door of the pot place and putting guns in kids' faces and stepping on their fucking necks and tying them up with twist ties, shooting their fucking dogs if they ever grow up in their house. You assholes. You silly, silly assholes. You're nothing but broken human beings. If you're not out there trying to shut down meth labs, if you're not out there doing all the different things that you could do to take those really crazy fucking prescription drugs out of the streets, take those fucking things out of school, that's what you got a real problem with. Shit that's physically addicted that you get sick without it. You know weed's not in that category, stupid.
Absolutely, man.
And they're not even trying. They don't even make an attempt. They just take cheap, easy collars, breaking down weed store. We're going to go after Operation Go After the Weed Store. And they come in like a bunch of jackbooted thugs.
You know, man, those fucking assholes are goddamn...
It's just sad.
Prototypical fascist.
I don't blame them. I blame whoever tells them to do that. Because those guys could be working for good with the proper leaders. They could be working for good with the proper representation. I know a lot of dudes. I've known dudes in the DEA. I've known from jiu-jitsu. I've known dudes from all sorts of branches of law enforcement. And most of them are good dudes, and they have a fucking job, and they have to do it.
Yep.
And the people at the top that are allowed to, it's just like having a drone, man. If you can't look a guy in the eye and stab him in the fucking heart, there's a big difference between that and being able to sit in Nevada with a PlayStation controller and operate some fucking thing that shoots Hellfire missiles. It's very impersonal. It's very impersonal.
And this is always the problem, man. This is the term for this is called diffusion of responsibility.
Yes.
When a thing gets big enough and wide enough, it creates the effect where when you do a thing, you feel like you're just doing what I'm just doing what I've been told. I've got to follow orders.
I don't care what it says. The state, the federal government triumphs over all. And we're coming in guns blazing, and we're going to take your happy plants. We found it. What if they just invented weed? What if weed was just found? It was in the Amazon jungle and it made people happy. And instead of we'd have a great new product. It'd be amazing.
Not a great new product. We'd have a great new fucking society. I mean,
a great new society.
You're talking about we hit on this in the last podcast, but I want to say it again. Marijuana being illegal and inaccessible to a great many of you out there in the world is identical to not being allowed to read certain books on philosophy or to be able to read certain books on society.
I would say it's even more detrimental because it doesn't allow you to be inspired to write those things externally.
That's it.
I get a lot of sober inspiration, no question about it. A lot of times sober around the house, I'm writing and I come up with great ideas and I'll sit there. But there are also ideas that come to me that I don't believe I would have ever had if it wasn't for marijuana. And, Carl Sagan said that as well. He said that he thought that there were ideas that were available in altered states of consciousness that could only be achieved in those altered states of consciousness. And I think to not respect that, is so arrogant. To pretend there's no way, please. That's coming from your imagination. You're just using that weed as a crutch. I am being honest with you. I have used many things in my life as a crutch. I have made excuses for things that I should have just manned up and taken responsibility for. I've not lived a perfect life. However, I'm pretty fucking honest with myself right now. I know what's a crutch and what is some turbocharger for the imagination from outer space that probably shouldn't even exist on this planet. And that's what weed is. And that's what people need to understand. This isn't something as simple as you just want to have your scotch after work and forget about your problems. No, this is marijuana as a religion. And I think if you take marijuana, I think there is a sensibility that comes from the heightened states of understanding and of community that you get when you smoke marijuana that would make life better for all of us.
Do you realize how fucking oppressive it is to exist in a society where if you have an idea in a state of consciousness obtained from marijuana, that idea will be immediately invalidated.
Immediately.
No matter what the fuck it is. And so we live in this society where people will say, if you have an idea, oh man, you must have been fucking really high when you came up with that idea.
Right.
As though suddenly that idea is now an idea of a lunatic. Meanwhile, in this very same society, a huge percentage of us are on antidepressants. A giant percentage of us every morning. Where the fuck are we? Starbucks, getting that goddamn caffeine, getting another intoxicant that comes from a fucking plant, and drinking that every day, and then because we're addicted to it.
I would like some of that. Is there any near
I
here?
could whip some up.
No, just keep going.
Because it wakes us up in the fucking morning.
Well, it also, it's a production sort of a drug. It's a stimulant, and stimulants are the ones that make you clean your house. Stimulants are the ones that make you excited about waxing your car.
And a good sativa is exactly the same way, and I think it's even more important than coffee. But you can't say things like that. It's like you would sound insane if you told someone they were addicted to broccoli.
Yeah.
You'd be like, man, what the fuck? Are you going to eat broccoli every fucking day because it makes you feel good? Dude, you got to cut that shit out. Are you seriously going to keep eating fucking broccoli? Dude, you're hooked, brother.
You know what Brian Redband used that excuse with me with vitamins? He goes, you're addicted to vitamins. You're addicted to feeling good from vitamins. I'm like, holy shit. This is one of the craziest conversations I've ever had with anybody.
Dude, well, you know what, man? It's fucking like, it's an insane thing to think that something that could be a form of psychic broccoli has been driven into the corner and demonized as some kind of crack house drug that you smoke before you rob a liquor store.
Well, this is my point. I think everybody needs it. I think the people in positions of power need it. See, because it doesn't mean that we don't need cops. It doesn't mean that we don't need a military, because we do. Because the human race has not evolved past a certain position. We're still stuck. We're stuck idealistically, we're stuck religiously, we're stuck with our borders where we agree that certain groups who are together are not allowed to go, and so there's too much absolute fucking craziness to believe that we don't need some sort of military presence to protect the idea of what America used to mean to us, and that used to mean freedom. The problem is that in protecting us from monsters, we've become greater monsters than anyone that's ever existed.
Yes.
That's the real issue. And I think that no one needs to feel that more than the people that are actually in power. So it's not that we don't need a military. We do. It's not that we don't need government. We do. We do. We need police officers. We need firemen. We need everyone. But I think they could all benefit from weed. And that sounds ridiculous. It sounds like something that should be immediately dismissed.
And sex. But
sex is important too.
Very important. Here's the thing. I think that as far as getting our leaders stoned or on a psychedelic like mushrooms, I love the idea. But I think another version of that is what we need is a true representative government, one, and two, legalize marijuana.
Well, just that one. Number two, just that one. Just legalize marijuana would immediately change everything. This is why it would change everything. If you could prove that people were benefiting from it, and then there became a pro-marijuana movement where you would have pro-marijuana commercials, where you could have a guy sitting on a couch going, when I take marijuana, I don't melt into the couch. I don't start talking to my dog. But you know what I do? I think about, could I be more loving to my wife? Could I be more friendly to my friends? Could I be more loving to my dog? Could I appreciate this experience more? Am I being a cunt? And I think that that's something that would benefit all of us. Brought to you by the professional marijuana. You know what I mean? You would look at that commercial and you would say, holy shit, was that just a pro marijuana commercial?
Right.
Well, yeah, that should be allowed to be legal, because you know why? You crazy fucks have had talking dogs and melting people for decades. You've had fucking eggs frying in a pan. Remember that stupid shit? This is your brain. Use your brain on drugs. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? How come you've been doing this and I can't do the other? How come I can't do the opposite? How come I can't put on NBC and The More You Know? How about a pro-marijuana commercial where a guy comes on and says that I smoke marijuana before I have sex with my girlfriend, and now all of a sudden we're not fighting anymore, and we cuddle more, and it's like it's more intense, and we've connected with each other more, and it just really changed our whole relationship.
Yeah,
thanks,
I was
marijuana.
no longer able to ignore the fact that there were roaches crawling across the floor of my fucking house, and I was wearing the same pair of underwear that I was wearing 4 days ago because of marijuana. You know, it won't let you live in a situation like that. If you're getting...
You say that, but there's a lot of dudes who smoke weed and just waste their lives.
Well, that's because I use it as a goddamn... And forgive me for saying this, and God bless you, Burning Man, one day I'll come there. I use it as a sacrament. I use it as a fucking sacrament. I use it as a... something to enhance my meditation. I use it to focus my will. I use it to... when I chant. I use it when I pray. I use it as a form of connection. It helps me connect with a what I believe is a higher intelligence, that
A higher
exists in-
frequency.
a higher frequency.
It enhances your frequency, and it takes over it. And if there's any wrestling going on, that's when you'll run into stumbles and like lose thought of what you're saying, and and like what were we talking about? Which I do all the time. It's the little wrestling matches of the mind. So it's not like the perfect intoxicant when it comes to communicating. Sometimes you run into little stumbles.
You'll get the stumbles if you're not on the crest of the wave. But
what it does do is allow you to tune into a frequency that I really don't believe is available without it. I just don't.
I think that like it maybe from running 5 miles, like maybe if you ran 7 miles or something, you could get the same effect.
You do. You get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of that from jiu-jitsu and kickboxing as well, like really prolonged periods of real aerobic output.
You'll get a nice little euphoric rush, but it's not the same thing, man. It's something that people now look at as a drug, but I think for a very, very long time it's been a necessary and fundamental aspect of human existence that became prohibited not that very long ago. And I think the end result has been a kind of unfortunate
confusion
and skewing.
A lot of stumbling,
and our priorities have gotten a little fucked.
What people need to understand is that all these different things that have been around for thousands of years, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's mushrooms, whether it's cannabis, whether it's sage, which is that shit that's available now still. What is it? Salvia divinorum, which is actually the sage plant.
No thanks.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of different shit that has been around forever, and all of this stuff has been used by people to explore altered states of consciousness, which with a lot of benefit. They benefited from it greatly, creatively. They benefited from it sociologically, physiologically. They benefited by understanding the way the body works more,
Yes.
looking at things with more intuition and more just a complete outside of the body perspective through an intelligent life form. Like you become a part of that mushroom experience, that mushroom intelligence for a brief period of time, and you get outside of your own body. No one can say that's not beneficial.
It's the most beneficial, and I want to bring it back to what we were talking about in the beginning, which is delusional people who don't see the terrain that they're living on and the necessity of living in the terrain of where you're at.
Right.
A psychedelic, and the reason one of the confusions about psychedelics is they talk about you're going to have a bad trip, man. You got to watch out because you could have a bad trip and you'll go insane. Now,
Cue spooky music.
And it's true. If you take a large dose of marijuana, if you take a heavy dose of a psychedelic, you can have a bad trip. But a lot of the times, what the root of the bad trip is aspects of yourself that you have been ignoring actively for most of your life. And those aspects of yourself that you feel ashamed of or that you've been trying to run from, those aspects of yourself that you've been trying to be better than. Like a lot of people, when you ask them, what do you want? It's fun to ask people what they want. Because when you ask somebody what they want, 9 times out of 10, what are some of your goals? If you ask someone some of their goals, 9 times out of 10, they will say, well, I want to be a better person. Now, this is the worst, most unquantifiable, lazy goal of all time. And generally, it's a lie. They don't want to be a better person. What they want is to experience what it's like to have sex with 2 strippers at the same time. That's what they want.
You don't think people want to be a better person and they don't have regret for the things they've done, what they fucked up?
You got to start with what you really want. So many people think when they like meditate or pray or get into like the pro self-evolution, they start taking on these very lofty things that they want to be instead of ignoring the initial desires. I think, yes, people want to be better people, but the way you become a better person is not from ignoring the reality of your being or who you really are. And who you really are, to begin with, is not going to be the Dalai Lama. You're not really going to want to go help. If I give you a choice, if I'm sitting down with you, if I'm sitting with a person, let's say a 25-year-old male,
right?
And I say, okay, man, here's the choice for tonight.
I'm already laughing.
We can fly down to Calcutta right now.
Save the world.
We can feed some lepers for about 8 hours. You know, I've got it all set up. We're gonna ride around, feed lepers for about 8 to 10 hours. Or, my friend, I have a teleportation device that can take me to my friend's harem in Saudi Arabia, and we can spend the night fucking an entire a crowd of supermodels doing whatever you want. There's also bowls of hash and plenty of fucking booze around.
Okay, but do you just, first of all, that is the biggest straw man argument of all time. You've created a goddamn transportation device to make your argument. You didn't even take a plane to Saudi Arabia. You're like, no, you're like, fuck taking the plane. My friend has a Scotty beam me up device. That was the most, that is the most ridiculous argument ever for someone not wanting to be a better person. But I mean, come on, think of how hilarious that is. You stretched reality so far that you had two completely different groups of people. You had one, the guy.
It's a bad example, but it's a bad example for a.
It's preposterous.
It's a preposterous thing, but it's preposterous with a real truth behind it.
Yeah.
Which is that start with what you want. Don't start with what you think you should want.
This is where I disagree. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone who has a lack of experience in esoteric thinking and being exposed to different ideas. I don't think there's anything wrong with a person like that saying I want to be a better person, because I think you're coming from a place of like you've got way more experience in, first of all, in dealing with like really fucking smart people, you know, just the people that you've had on your podcast, and you know all the different people that you know from the world of stand-up and the world of, you know, television production. You were friends with Tim and Eric. You're friends with a lot of like really intelligent, intense people. And then you stop and think about what it's like to be some average person who would just say, I just want to be a better person. They really do mean that, because they don't know what's wrong.
Okay,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, your take on it is so far down the road in the natural journey of the uneducated, uninformed, uninspired by their local environment person.
Okay, let me go back.
But I agree with you.
Let me go back to what I said about I want to be a better person. What I mean is the reason I want to be a better, that is an excellent and beautiful thing to want, and you should be proud of yourself for wanting that. That's a great thing. But the problem with it is it's not quantifiable. So when you say I want to be a better person, you're not holding yourself to any kind of real thing except for whatever your particular idea of what a better person is, which for most people is quite murky.
It's a very intangible sort of an ideal.
It's intangible. So I say quantify that. If you want to make yourself a better person, then here's what you do. This is something I just realized today when I was super stoned and I started writing down all the shit that I think about that is negative. So I started writing down recurring negative thought patterns to see what the shit's spinning around in my brain. And like, I'll throw one out. A recurring negative fucking thought pattern is I want to get in fucking shape, man. I don't like the way my body looks. So this is a recurring negative thought pattern, right? Mm-hmm. So I just wrote that down, and then I realized, oh fuck, if I reverse that, instead of having, man, I don't like looking at myself in the mirror, I want to be in great fucking shape, right? And now I took something that was a recurring negative thought pattern and transformed it into a goal. Because a lot of people, when you ask them, what are your goals, they can't tell you. They don't know what they want. They really don't. They'll have something like, well, I'd like to be rich, or I'd like to, they just throw out that they haven't considered, but it's hard for them to come up with quantifiable goals. And if you really want to change and you really want to become a better person, you have to have quantifiable goals.
Right. Do you think you practice what you preach here?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think you create quantifiable goals in your own life and reach for them? Is that
yes.
That's your shit?
Well, no, that's the only thing that took me out of the pit. And do I always practice what I preach?
If you wanted to change one aspect of how you incorporate that into your life, what would it be? Would it be working out?
It's more than just working out. It would be
health, like food.
You want to get it as specific as it can get. So it'd be like, for me, it would be going to a trainer so he could like fucking determine like, well, here's how much you should weigh.
Right.
Here's what your pulse should be.
Right.
Here's where you should be. and here's where I can get you in this amount of time. And here's like every 2 weeks, here's some.
You're gonna get a gay lover right now that's gonna find you from this podcast and reach out to you, and he knows Duncan. He knows Duncan that he can change you. He
Why
can
does
get
it
you
have to be a
fit.
fucking dude?
Because somewhere along the line, this dude's he's gonna hypnotize you, and he's gonna try to get you to suck his dick.
Why does it have to be a dude?
Because you're adorable. Why does it have to be a dude? Because if it's a girl, you'd fall in love with her. You'd want to impress her.
Well, dude, if
she would turn you into a steroid user. You would have a lot of problems with a girl fitness trainer.
I gotta tell you,
need
man.
a dude.
Dude, you just had on your podcast. What's her name? The tattoo woman.
Yes,
To me, man, I was thinking about that.
Kat Von D.
Kat Von D.
She's beautiful.
It's such a funny sketch about or a movie or something.
She's a really nice person, man.
I'm sure.
Did
she's
you
super,
did you see the podcast at all?
I didn't see the podcast.
Regular cool chick, man.
I'm sure she's awesome, but it's a funny character in a movie, a dude who's dating a tattoo artist, but he's kind of like a normal guy, but he's like covered in tattoos because he's been. If you were dating,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. She would practice on you and shit.
how many you would be covered. You
Right.
would be covered in fucking tattoos. Breaking up with her, there's a lot of broken-hearted guys out there who dated her and are now just covered in the most awesome tattoos. And every time they look at themselves in the mirror, they've got her art permanently burnt into their skin.
Yeah, I wonder if they've done
For
that.
sure. Of
You know what
course.
she said? She said that she took care of one guy. He had a tattoo on his dick that said Linda's because he dated a girl named Linda, and she made him tattoo Linda 'S on his dick, and so he had to turn that in. He was married to another woman, so he had to turn that into a tribal thing. So she had to burn with ink and needles into this man's cock a tribal image over the word Linda's, and she was like, it's a big letter too. It was like LINDA apostrophe S. It's like, holy shit. She's like, we were in that chair for hours, and I was just thinking about him, like, that poor fuck. And his wife was there too, and apparently she had done some other work on him before. So it's like they had like already a relationship, and she'd already tattooed him, and so this was like a thing that he was like super embarrassed about. But
Dude, the idea.
well, I don't understand why you didn't get it lasered. You got to get it lasered. I mean, because you can get your dick lasered. Like, they can take the ink out now.
Fuck that, man. I want to think about the mind state you're in. Because, dude, with girls, I go deep. But I cannot imagine going that deep where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get your name tattooed on my dick like a collar. Like,
You say that, man, but if it was that, or she would leave.
I'm not
If it
doing
was
it.
you're in love and, prove it to me, I'm going to fucking leave
Joe,
you. I don't believe you.
I
Like,
swear.
baby, okay, I'll do it. And you call me up in the middle of the night, dude, don't even talk me out of this. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm getting her
First
name
of all-
tattooed on my dick.
First of all, if I got a girlfriend's name tattooed on my dick, nobody would know. That is...
I would be like peeing next to you at the stall. I'd look down. What the fuck, dude? You're not supposed to look, man.
This fucking Duncan Trussell impression's got to start.
Hey, man.
I'm in communications. Anyone who does an impression of me, no, I'm in communications with my attorney to copyright the way I talk. And anyone who does an impression of me, Brendan Walsh, I hope you're listening. I will sue your ass.
What about Elon Gold? Because he's made a whole career out of doing impressions of comedians. What if Elon Gold starts doing an impression of you? I bet he could. He's
Who's
brilliant.
Elon Gold?
You don't know who Elon Gold is?
No.
All right, well, whatever. Let's carry on. Let them Google it.
Who is he?
He's a comedian who does impressions of comedians.
Oh.
You've never heard of him?
No.
He, when I was living in New York, for a while, he was really hot. He wound up getting like some sort of a sitcom or something like that. But he would freak a lot of people out because he would do comedians, and he was really fucking good at like doing like impressions of comedians. Like his Stephen Wright was dead on.
So he's like a cover band.
Yeah, it was real weird.
That's
yeah.
kinda cool.
He was really good at it, but he could do you, dude.
Dude, I think a fucking 8-year-old who ate ate fucking spicy jalapeno sauce could do an impression of me. I got a raspy lesbian voice. Dude. I don't know what
Raspy
happened.
lesbian voice. A lesbian smoker. I wouldn't say just a regular lesbian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you put a little chicken scratch in your voice, you could totally be a girl trucker.
Yeah, I love driving this around. Nothing I love more than heading up the 1002
And with
Alaska.
little grease-soaked fingernails rubbing their clit in front of you while you're in the passenger
Have you
seat.
noticed the length of my clit? Let me show you. I've got an exceptionally long clit.
Just hoping this bitch is going to run out of gas in some place where you can jump out and find a new man.
You'll notice that these fucking doors lock from my side.
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
No, man. I'll tell you, though, man. To get that much into a trance, where you are not only getting needles and ink into your dick, when
You would do it.
I would not do it.
You were ready to quit stand-up at one point.
Dude, I would quit stand-up before I get my dick tattooed.
You say that, but I would say I'm staying. That's what I would get
By the
tattooed
way,
on my dick. If it had to do between me quitting stand-up and me getting I'm staying tattooed on my dick, I would rather have that.
Dude,
I'm not going anywhere.
The time where I wanted to quit stand-up, my stand-up wasn't exactly the greatest stand-up on earth.
Well, do you want to be honest about that? Do you like talking about like stand-up, like where it's good and where it's bad?
What
do you
do
like
mean?
doing that?
Mine personally?
Yeah, like how you feel about your stand-up.
You know what it is, man? Stand-up is sedimentary layers of your life because you write jokes at certain times of your life. And
Can I say what I think it is for you?
as long as it's nice and won't make
It's
me want to put a
fucking
gun
awesome.
in my mouth.
It's fucking awesome. It's all your stand-up is about how much you are having fun and relaxed in doing stand-up. And the more you're fun and relaxed, the better your stand-up is. And the more you do stand-up, the more you're fun and relaxed. I've seen you when you don't do very many sets, and I've seen you when you do a lot of sets. Like when we do like a weekend somewhere, and you'll do like 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday.
Yeah.
When Sunday rolls around, you're a fucking assassin. You're bulletproof, man. And it's because you're getting your proper exercise in.
Right.
That's what it is. And it's the same way with all of us, man. If you're not working on your act, if you're not out there performing, if you're not doing long sets, you can get sloppy. And that's just the way
dude,
it is.
For sure. Definitely, like, this is why I'm looking forward to this tour coming up because I'm going to get...
Well, that's why I'm looking forward to you doing this tour, man. You know, whenever you talk negative about your stand-up, I just want to grab you and go, you're fucking crazy. You're on a wave that if you follow it to fruition is going to be some of the most interesting stand-up of any of the people that I know.
Here's the thing. And I feel very fortunate to be friends with you and to be friends with a lot of great comics. And so I am...
Well, and I'm fortunate to be friends with you as well.
Yeah, man, my stand-up now, I'm very proud of it. Like, I love it, and I
should be. It's hilarious.
I worked really hard to get to that place, right? But maybe it's just an ego trick or something. I see people like you, people like fucking Louis C.K. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Don't do that. This is what you do.
That's stupid, huh?
You stop thinking that way completely 100% because you could mind fuck yourself into a coma. Look, there's a reason why I started taking Joey Diaz on the road with me, okay? And one of the big reasons was, first of all, number one, first and foremost, because he made me laugh. And number two was because it scared me to go after him because he would fucking destroy. And when people didn't know who I was, like there was an air of skepticism. You would go on stage, like, is this guy any good or is he just some fucking actor? And you're going on after Joey Diaz. And Joey would fucking lay it down, dude, especially like in New Jersey. Like I had some tough sets following him at Rascals in New Jersey just because he just blends in with that fucking crowd. But that's what made me better. That's what made me better.
dude, absolutely, man. And seeing that happen will make you a better comedian.
Seeing everybody at the store made me better.
And
seeing Dice Clay crush. Seeing guys come in like Chris Rock. Seeing all those guys. Seeing Chappelle. All those guys made me better. And that's the same thing with you. So instead of looking at other comics and going, man, I don't compare. Ooh, I feel bad. Oh, I don't like where I'm at right now. Instead of doing that, go look at your shit and just go off. Look at your shit and just dig deep. Look at your shit, put on the fucking headphones, go over your recording, sit in front of the fucking word processor, do the work,
Well, man,
bang that shit out.
Here's the thing. Here's the essence, the knot of my problem right now. Like the fucking real goddamn like.
Let me take my pants off. Hold on.
Please don't take your. Here's the fucking. Here's the problem. What I really love is doing this podcast. And more than anything, and what I really love is like conversations like this, and I like doing the opening monologues for this podcast, and I like being able to communicate weird esoteric ideas in this format. Stand up is you got to take these what I want to do is figure out a way to condense or freebase the stuff I talk about on this podcast into a set. And
I'm telling you, you're already doing that. I'm telling you, you are hypersensitive about your development of material, and that hypersensitivity, in my opinion, comes completely from you not putting enough time into your writing. That's all it is. Your mind is fucking with you, and it's telling you that you're not putting enough time into going over your material and to expanding it and moving forward on it. That's all it is. Because when you're up there, you're killing. So, I mean, you're talking craziness to me.
The sets are great.
I know. Well, you're saying to me, by judging yourself in this way, all that says to me is that you don't feel like you're putting the work in.
Right. That's exactly right, man. But I do, every day I fucking write. I spend every day now about at least an hour and a half writing.
That's awesome.
I
That's
try to write
huge.
about them. But
So
it's not
huge.
jokes. So what ends up happening...
Doesn't matter,
I end up writing like... I end up writing like I'm working on a book, and I end up writing
love letters to ex-girlfriends. fake love letters. Can you imagine, like fucking Elton John wrote to Marilyn Monroe.
I miss them so much. But I so it's a
Would have liked to have known you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before the legend never did. The legend never did. You're like, okay.
How awesome would that be if Elton John had written that about a porn star?
Well, didn't he try to change it for Princess Diana? You lazy fucking queen. You can't even write a new song for Princess Diana. She was your buddy, and you got to go right to that Marilyn Monroe song. How fucking dare you? First of all, she wasn't some some American floozy who gallivanted with celebrities. No, she was goddamn royalty, and she was your friend. That's the most important, Elton. That's why this is disappointing as fuck. You couldn't even write a new goddamn song.
Okay.
Even if she liked that song. How about she likes you? How about you get your fucking lazy ass, you call Bernie, you guys get together, and you write a fucking song that's indicative of your love for the dearly departed princess.
I
son of a
love
bitch.
You, Princess Di. They should have let Jimmy Buffett write the song.
No, Jimmy Buffett and Bushwick Bill. Yo, princess, I like your pearly lips. Yo, princess, I come upon your tits. Oh, bitches shooting at me, trying to get my ducats. Stay away from me. I got cash in buckets. Oh.
Yo, it makes me cry. I never got a chance to fuck Princess Di.
Oh, shit. Princess Di.
That's
Why'd
what
you have to
you-
die before I got that pussy?
Princess Di, that's what you did.
Yeah, you could have a song like that just for controversy's sake.
Oh, man, she was a sweet lady. You know, I fucking... can I tell you a strong memory I have from Princess Di's fucking wedding?
You have a memory from her wedding?
Absolutely do.
Really?
My mom, at the time I was at my grandmother Clyde's house. This is when I was a kid.
Your grandmother's name was Clyde?
Grandmother Clyde.
Clyde.
Grandmother Clyde.
Oh, okay. Her last name was Clyde.
She was a Southern grandmother.
Yeah, because that's a dude, okay? That's not really a grandmother. Stop letting them fuck you, Duncan, young Duncan. We're gonna use that transporter, and instead of going to Saudi Arabia to fuck chicks, we're gonna go back in time and stop this imposter that's pretending to be your grandmother, but his name is fucking Clyde.
This story is really gross. And it's really fucking embarrassing. So
I'm sorry.
I feel weird talking about
It's
it.
not real.
I might cut it out when I'm not stoned anymore.
Okay.
So what happened was I was a kid, and my mom was really into Princess Diana's wedding. Like, she thought this was fucking incredible. And so, like, there'd been build-ups to it. Like, she'd been talking about Princess Diana's wedding, getting married. And so we're sitting in my grandmother Clyde's, my dad's mother's southern living room, watching Princess Diana's wedding. And the only reason I remember this moment is from the shame and horror that I felt. Because for whatever reason, I was scratching my ass. Like, I was a kid, and I was, like, scratching my ass. And I smelled my finger, and it smelled terrible. And I was like, Mom, smell my finger. And my mom, like, smelled my, like, shit-covered finger. And she was like, oh, my God, And like, I just remember like seeing the fucking like. I still remember seeing like the marriage procession on the TV. I'd like.
That's such a stupid connection to Princess Diana. You're like, so Princess, what I'm trying to tell you, we were meant to be. We were robbed when you were taken away from me by the paparazzi. Have you heard that Sheryl Crow has a brain tumor that she's attributing to excessive cell phone use? How crazy is that, man?
I don't think that's impossible.
She said that she did all of her press. She used to do a lot of press. And she did all of it with a phone by her head. Hours and hours every day.
Why not?
And it was those old days when they had those really shitty fucking cell phones. Those really big, bricky cell phones. Because, like, she was big in 94. That's when All I Wanna Do Is Have Some Fun. So she did, back then, she did all of her shit through cell phones.
Dude, think of the energy in those phones. Like,
I can't.
The fucking
I
electric...
can't even think of the energy in this microphone. I can't think of the energy that pulsates through your fucking house, man.
Yeah, right.
You know?
The crazy amounts of energy that are going through
How about
everything.
the fact that this has only been around for a short period of time, man? How about the fact that we really are not set up biologically to handle all this responsibility of all this electricity?
Well,
It's a
you know,
mind
I
fuck,
mean,
man.
we've done our job just about. I mean, that's the whole point. We've just about done our job. We're about to be able to either get put on retirement or get fucking wiped out.
Yeah.
But we've certainly done our job. We brought this being into existence, and it's going to start representing itself without our help pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
We're very close to that happening, but we're not quite there.
It's going to be another life form.
It is another goddamn life
Yeah.
form. It's just in a rudimentary phase right now.
Yeah, it's eventually going to pop through.
But see, this is the thing. This is why I love simulation theory. Because simulation theory...
Damn, I got to piss. Hold this. Pause.
Done.
You got an idea?
Back...
Jesus Christ. Duncan Trussell's scary. This is the scariest jump in human history. And this is something that we talked about on the Kat Von D podcast. And I just recognized it at that time. And now it's been really fucking with my head ever since then. In the early 1900s, the airplane was invented. Was it the late 1800s? Whatever the fuck it was. In less than 50 years, they dropped an atomic bomb out of an airplane.
Right.
So they went from no air flight at all to dropping a fucking nuclear bomb out of an airplane in less than 50 years.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That is maybe the biggest jump in what's possible in human history.
Well, it gives you an idea of if you start dividing things into 50-year increments, and you base like, okay, what was stuff like 50 years ago, you know, and think about that. Let's think about like it's gone. Let's think about life 50 years ago. 50 years ago, there's no fucking computers.
Right.
There's no internet. There's no cell phones.
Yeah.
We have no
libraries.
There's probably there might not be 3-pronged outlets 50 years ago.
Really?
I don't know for sure about that. But 50 years, because old houses generally only have 2-pronged outlets.
They do?
Yeah. So mine does. Old houses do.
Yo, I'm just looking at your
Yeah.
fucking house. I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. That's amazing.
So 50 years ago, let's think 50 years ago. 50 years ago, what do we got? We've got TV. We got movies. We got the beginning of movies. Do we have sound in movies 50 years ago? Is there sound in movies 50 years ago?
Dude, you're basically living in a cave. You got 2-prong outlets over there. I'm looking at them.
I
They're
got
they're
adapters.
fucking freaking me out.
Let me tell you, if there's an outlet in a cave, it's not a cave. I've got it.
This shit is freaking me out, man.
It's an old house, haunted as fuck. I got looked.
Do you really?
What?
For real? Haunted?
Ugh. I don't care about ghosts, and I love the ghosts, and any ghost that I get around, it's cool. I don't mind them sharing my space, but definitely my house is haunted.
Whoa.
And the
what are you
neighbors
talking about,
said
man?
it too. They're like, that house has got something in it.
Yeah.
But I don't
It's
care.
called Your Loads and Thoughts. Every time you jerk off and you get high and have a crazy thought
Well,
in here,
I
that's shit.
do rituals in
I
here.
bet you scare the fuck out of all the ghosts. I bet all the ghosts are like, this bitch is chanting. Listen to me. He's always high. He's chanting. You're not going to fool him. He sees shit that's not there all day. So when you show up and go boo, he's going to try to hug you. Okay?
No,
He's not
I am
scared.
going to try to hug the ghost.
Yeah.
I don't mind the ghost.
Well, that's the
And-
thing about ghosts, man. No ghost has ever hurt anybody ever. It's like if you're going to be scared of something, the idea of Halloween being scared of ghosts don't do shit. Nothing gets done.
Yes,
they don't
but-
hurt anybody.
But this is the thing. People are really worried about haunted houses all the time. It's like, hey, guess what? You're haunted, motherfucker. You're haunted by all your bad memories and insecurities and fear. You've got the worst kind of ghosts flying around your goddamn neurons.
That's probably what ghosts really are, man.
Yeah, that is.
There's
what
a guy
ghosts are.
who's coming on my podcast who's one of those ghost hunter dudes. And he sent me a tweet. And this is the last communication we had. He sent me a tweet about... I heard you're a skeptic. Like, come on,
Hilarious.
man. We were going back and forth. I was like, I'd love to talk to you. You tell me that there's a place that you can go and take me to that you really think there's ghosts there. Okay.
Here's the funny
I'd
thing-
be into checking that shit out.
Here's the funny thing about ghosts. If I take a person who has managed somehow to transform their state of consciousness to one where they recognize that life is the most beautiful, incredible, opulent, juicy paradise that can possibly happen, and that they're one tiny part of that incredible moment of happening,
Right.
and you show them a ghost, they're going to think it's the funniest thing ever. And they're probably, if anything, if the ghost is capable of like seeing that person, if there is ghosts, P.S.
You know what's way scarier than a ghost?
What?
A star. It's just far enough away that you're not worried about it fucking with you.
Yeah.
You're staring at the night sky. You're looking at 100 billion things that would make you disappear instantly.
And wait. Well,
If you
first of
touch
all,
them.
I got to stop you, man. There's a there's a star that is very close to us. They could fuck us up very easily with one little burp. I mean, we
yeah.
like to think we understand. This is a very funny thing.
Solar flares.
How long have we been on the planet? How 200,000 years humans have been on the planet? How long has the sun existed, right? And also, how long have people understood the composition of the sun, or understood that the sun is composed
Solar cycles
of,
and all that shit.
Solar cycles and hydrogen
Gamma
atoms
rays.
being merged together in the core of the sun through fusion, and the light being released from the sun as photons. How long have we understood that? Because
Million-mile-long whips of fire that come out of it.
I've understand this shit for maybe a year, right? So here's the thing, because like I didn't get into the sun or like even investigate the source of all life on the planet until fairly recently. I'm like reading the Bhagavad Gita. Why pay attention to the thing that's really bringing things to life and lights and illuminates our very existence?
Yeah.
Let's ignore that. I'm going to read the Bible.
Right.
It's hilarious the way that we focus on spirituality before science. But here's the fucking thing, man. That motherfucking sun, we like to think, like, yeah, in approximately 1 million years, that will go into a red dwarf phase and envelop the Earth and wipe out all life. That's
Yeah.
my shitty.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but
That's not bad.
But how do we really know that? We've been on this planet for a really short amount of time,
Right.
and suddenly we're like, oh yeah, we've got another 200,000 years, 1 million years before the sun turns into a red dwarf star and burns everything out. How the fuck do we know that? The sun is burping right now, is blasting out crazy solar flares, huge bursts of energy that, as far as I'm aware, I've never seen that before.
Well, not only that, what we're observing is just in our solar system. When we start to observe shit that happens outside of our solar system, we realize the endless amount of possibilities that we can get fucked up. There's black holes that are sucking entire galaxies into the center of them, and the burning heat from the center of the black hole it's unimaginable. And it might very well be the opening for a completely new universe.
Sure.
And the planets are all getting sucked into that. When you look at a galaxy, okay, and you see the spiral galaxy, and you see the center, and there's a very bright center, well, in the center of that very, 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 very bright center is actually a black hole. Every galaxy has a black hole that is exactly 0.1% of the entire mass of the galaxy. That's how big the supermassive black hole is at the center of every galaxy. And it's slowly devouring everything. It's just that galaxies are so enormous, it takes forever. But we're going in that drink, man. We're going in that drink.
And guess what's at the center of every person's life? Another kind of fucking black hole. You dying. And it's sucking every single person, and every single person has to deal with their own personal singularity, regardless of how much you want to fucking get caught up in like the black holes in the center of the galaxies. It's important to realize that you are being sucked at this very moment into a singularity from which there will be no recognizable aspect of yourself over a certain amount of time, no matter how famous or great or incredible you are.
That's all though nice and good, but why concentrate on that when you can just concentrate on enjoying the moment? And why concentrate on the idea that you're temporary instead of concentrating on the idea that together as a collective we might be able to overcome the odds.
This is
the hustle.
This is one of
the hustle is that we only lived a certain amount of time, and during that time of living to be 80 years or whatever the fuck it is, you never really get a chance to get smart enough.
Sorry, go ahead.
You never really get a chance to get smart enough to understand how crazy this whole thing is. You contribute to the knowledge. You move the thing further along, but just when you start to recognize the hustle, you die. Well, in this day and age, people are recognizing the hustle way earlier. They're recognizing the hustle in high school. They're recognizing the hustle before they ever go to college. They're recognizing the hustle because of the internet. So it's a different world. It's a different world because of that alone.
The reason I keep saying this is because we've never totally talked about it, but this is one of our fundamental disagreements, which is you have what on the surface level would seem like a more optimistic view of reality. You're a very fucking life-filled, vital, happy person. And so when I say something like this singularity of death exists in the core of every human's life.
Well, I would agree with that. I think we all have to agree with that.
But this is the difference between you and I think. And what that is you think focusing on that is
it's a negative.
It's a negative. And I think focusing on that creates a broader understanding of how precious life is.
They're not mutually exclusive, because I do both. I don't think it's either or, and I think that's a silly assumption. I think what I do is I look at the fact that it's going to end. I know it for a fucking fact, and then I don't dwell on it, and I enjoy the moment. And that's what I do. I use both together at the same time. The knowledge that this is a temporary experience should reinforce the idea that you should enjoy the moment. And it's not an either-or situation. It's not that, I look at it and I don't want to focus on it because I'm not aware of it. For fuck's sake, everyone's aware of it. It's just that it doesn't do you any benefit to dwell on the end of the game, because it can end randomly for anyone. The most important thing is be smart, be intelligent, be aware that it can end for anyone, and enjoy the moment.
Well,
but that's not mutually exclusive.
Right. I don't think it's mutually exclusive, and I don't think that obviously you shouldn't dwell on.
But how do we differ then?
Well, I think that there is I don't know if we were even really differ, but I think that there's a kind of path to wisdom through making sure that you become completely aware of the fantastic nature of your existence and the temporary nature. And one way to do that is by recognizing the temporary or the ever-changing aspect of who you are. This is why, one form of Buddhist meditation, we talked about this on your show, I think, is to sit at the edge of a pit of dead bodies and watch them decompose over a period of several weeks so that you can fully understand how transient and impermanent your existence is. And from that, gain an awareness of what your true identity is. Because the easy trick of human life is that we become convinced that this body, and maybe not you and maybe not me, but a lot of people become convinced that this body is it.
Mm-hmm.
And so inevitably life is defined by massive shifts in your expectations to the way things are. You get sick, you get cancer, you have a heart attack, your wife dies, there's a car accident, suicide bomb goes off. The real nature of reality is one that's more like a kaleidoscope than anything else. So you are one slowed down part of a kaleidoscope that is in a blink of an eye based on the amount of time
Not even.
Not even a blink of an eye, is going to spread back out into that whatever this fractal is that we happen to be an awake and aware part of.
I still haven't found out where we disagree.
Maybe we don't.
But you said it was a big fundamental part that we disagreed with.
Because, here's what it is. Because I will, from time to time, bring up, like what I said about the fact that we're all going to fuck.
I'm not sure you're right.
That we disagree?
I'm not sure you're right that we disagree, and I'm not sure you're right that we're all going to disappear. I don't understand this. I'm not pretending I do. I've looked at a massive amount of what we call history and what we understand about consciousness and what we understand about whether or not it's even local or non-local, or whether or not you're a fucking antenna for the ultimate consciousness of the universe, and the frequency is different in your body than it is with my body, but ultimately the frequency, the consciousness is a universal thing. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure whether or not life is a dream. I'm not sure whether or not it's a simulation. I'm not sure whether or not it's malleable by consciousness. I think there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for manifesting a very physical and real reality with your own consciousness.
It depends on what you identify with. If you identify with your body, and you identify with your family, and you identify with your life that you have right now, that's all gone for sure. That's gone. Unless you're like a Christian. If you believe,
what do you mean by that? By identify with it? You
So-
mean like if you define yourself by that, and that
Yes.
this is your existence, and when this existence is over, there will be no existence.
yes, if you define yourself with your body, then you will be obliterated.
It's such a mindless sort of a pursuit, because there's no understanding of what consciousness is stripped away from language and culture. That's the big one.
No, your
The big-
consciousness is around, but if you identify yourself with your body's going to be worm food soon.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we don't understand what you is. You identifying yourself with your body could be lifted away with one experience of transcendent energy, one soul lifting experience where all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I just didn't know what the fuck it was. And boom, that whole ponderous theological / philosophical question becomes completely irrelevant.
Yes.
Because it gets revealed to you in one gigantic wave of experience. And I think to discount the possibility of that is silly. To count on it is equally silly. And it also it seems to me that it would be really convenient if it went somewhere. But it could also be that you are but a portal for the universe, a temporary one, a blink in a system that will never end. And while you're having it, you're thinking about it, and you can't really have too much of a sense of your own fatality, because otherwise it would paralyze you. You'd be paralysis by analysis. You would get to that, what's the point? What's the point of anything? What's the point of anything? You would get to that weird point, man. You would just fucking tap out.
That's it. Paralysis through analysis. That's a great way to put it.
It's a Taekwondo term.
It's
a term from martial
And
arts.
certainly a great many people have this form of paralysis, but
Well, that's what it comes from. Stress. The paralysis by analysis comes from you not wanting to make a bad decision because you're not prepared to deal with the stress.
well, the fucking story sucks if you buy into it from one perspective. And one perspective, the way the story sucks for a lot of people is, I am me, I'm going to die, and that's it. That's a shit story. I don't like that story. There's another story. There's another way. There's another way to look at it, which is that I am part of an ever-changing field of intelligence that is temporarily manifested in the form of this human life that I'm experiencing. And when you begin to realize that, when you just play around with the idea that I might actually be infinite, and only...
But it is not I. That's where you're getting crazy. I don't think there is an I. I think to even define whether or not any of this makes sense and say it's I might be infinite. There's no I. There's no I. That's the gigantic great illusion.
I don't mean Duncan Trussell is going to die and Duncan Trussell is the entire universe. When I say I mean the big capital letter I, the sum total of all things. I'm one pixel in a great, beautiful tapestry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just a giant thing. The human race is just a giant thing. And the big trick is that we're all individuals. That's the big trick. But the other big trick is if you don't recognize that you're an individual, you never get anything done individually. So in order to be a contributing part of this giant thing, you have to act alone sometimes. You have to make your own choices. You have to move your own body forward. You have to make your own decisions as far as how you affect all the other entities around you and to move things forward in their direction and to help them as well. But
certainly,
yeah, and you have to recognize that that's what's going on. But you also have to recognize you don't know what the fuck it really is. You don't know if it ends. You don't know if you haven't done this forever. You don't know if you haven't done this since the beginning of time. You've just transferred consciousnesses over and... Is that a word? Consciousnesses?
Sure.
I don't think it is.
For today.
Transfer it back and forth through dreams. Through, you wake up and all of a sudden you're a fucking little kid mowing the lawn and your dad's yelling at you because you're doing it wrong. And you're like, oh, it's 1950 Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. What the fuck just happened? And you don't even know. And eventually your reality of 1950 Birmingham, Alabama just fucking overwhelms you and you forget about your spaceman travel days with your iPod 4. Or whatever the fuck we're up to right now.
Sure, man. That is definitely like
a
possibility, and it's pretty fucking cool. This is why simulation theory is so awesome, because it gives us a technological framework with which to embody.
Simulation theory is so important. You had to talk to me and make sure that it's okay that we both talk about simulation theory.
Yeah. Because we're both, definitely. Because the reason it's so cool is because it's it may be the seed of a brand new religion, which is where we redefine our entire universe within the framework of the notion that this is a holographic projection coming from super advanced technology that was designed by people who wanted to simulate the distant past for some reason.
Right.
And so, aside from like dying and waking up as a kid, sitting in their backyard, I think it may just be that you fucking wake up and pull your headband off of the whatever your fucking head is 20,000 years from now and are like, well, it seems like that simulation went well. We learned a great deal from that. Or that was fucking fun. Or that was a shitty game.
I feel like the idea of committing to even really considering the idea of simulation theory sort of discounts the myriad of other really obvious possibilities about why this world is so fucking twisted. And one of them, besides the idea of a computer simulation, is the idea that life is not just whatever you can knock on and it makes noise. Life is not just solid things, but it's also intention and it's also energy, and it moves in waves that we don't totally understand, that are based on intent and love and friendship. And I can testify from my own personal existence that I believe that this is a real effect. And I think that I have become very good at writing it. I understand it. I understand how to push it out in a positive way. And that's one of the big responses to this podcast, my podcast that I've had, and my podcast with you, because you share that sort of same idea about things. And I think that is that's to me, if you haven't experienced that, then you don't think that it's a real factor. But I have experienced it. I've experienced it on a mass level. And I think that the impact of having communication with people, the impact of being able to spread something, just a push, a boom of a positive idea that other people grab onto and run with, and it enhances their life. When you do that, that's a real thing that's happening. And I think that also changes the tone and the frequency of your whole experience here on Earth. I don't think this whole life that we live is based entirely around things that you can touch and buttons you can turn on and wood that you can knock on. I think there's a lot more of it has to do with your interactions with human beings, and whether or not the human beings you're interacting with come away with a positive feeling from you. And that's a hard thing for people to wrap their fucking heads around. But I think that actually can change the entire frequency that you exist on. So when someone starts talking about like simulation theory, I go, yeah, maybe. It might be that we're trapped in a computer. It might be that life is infinitely more fucking bizarre than we can ever wrap our heads around, and we're just only capable of tuning into a very, very narrow band of reality. And the real reality that we get in glimmers and hopes is positive energy and love and friendship and the idea of escaping the ego. And it comes to us in lightning bolts of inspiration and loving feelings and warm hugs. And it's just like almost there letting us know. But even our idea of what the big mandala could be is just so limited by our shitty little imaginations and our petty little fucking human instincts and our ego and our lies and our knowledge that we're gonna die and all the fucking fear that goes with that. It's all limited because I think the big fucking picture might not just be simulation theory. It might be something way more fucking crazy than that. It may be undefinable realities all around you all the time that you blink in and out of. And it's not as simple as a computer program. It's as simple as the fact that there was no fucking computer to begin with in the first place. None of it was ever real. All of it is an imaginary thing. And the imaginary life and the mind creating things and making them real, that's the illusion. Knocking on things that you've created to block yourself from the infinite wisdom of the universe, that is the illusion. Your car, your house, your boat, your fucking private jet, everything you can hit with a hammer is an illusion. That's the illusion. The reality is the feel, the life, the love, the soul, the interaction with human beings. That's the reality. Jets are fake. The ocean's not real. You can't drown. You don't exist.
Love it. And especially the part about love, man, because that is the thing. Like, regardless of the whatever thought experiment you want to use to do fucking acrobatics on regarding like the infinite field of phenomena surrounding you, one thing is certain: there is no better feeling than love.
No better.
It's the greatest feeling that there is. There's nothing better than that, and it's very simple.
I went off on a podcast once about someone shitting. I forget who it was. Someone was shitting on Sheryl Crow for her song "All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun." Like, right. This is the fucking exactly what's wrong with music. It was like one of those guys. I forget who it was. He was going off about it. And I remember on the podcast going like, what is wrong with wanting to have fun? My God. When instead of rallying against white slavery, instead of rallying against the poisoning of the waters of Somalia that made these kind fishermen become pirates, instead of rallying against the use of fucking slave labor children in the Congo to get lithium for cell phone batteries, instead of rallying against that, what do you have a problem with? What's your fun? Someone wants to have some fun? Yeah, man. Why you want to fucking have fun?
Hold on.
That's it? That's your message? That's what's wrong with America. All I want to do is have fun? What kind of a fucking pussy are you?
Really? All you want to do is have fun?
All I want to do is recycle.
So if I go to a fucking... if there was like a restaurant where you could choose experiences, and on the menu they're like, well, you can experience... absolute suffering, you can experience paranoia, you can experience what it's like to be chased by a bear, or you can experience fun. You can pick 3 of these. You can do like, you know what? I think all I want to do is have some fun from this menu.
Yeah, why is that a bad thing? I have a feeling I'm not the only one. All I want to do is have some fun.
The reason that people, maybe, I mean, aside from like the message behind the fucking thing, I mean, something about that goddamn song is like definitely fills me with a form of nausea, and it's not from the desire to have fun. It's just something about like, the sun's coming over Santa Monica Boulevard. What have I done?
I love it. I'm hanging out with that dirty bitch. We're drinking and we're about to go fuck.
Maybe if I'm with her. But let me tell you, generally when the sun's coming up over Santa Monica
I bet even
Boulevard,
when she's dirty, she smells good.
Generally when the sun comes up over Santa Monica Boulevard, I'm surrounded by a bunch of fucking dudes who have taken too much ecstasy. And I just want to go home and like try to forget.
Dudes with needles.
Yeah, it's not. Sun coming up over Santa Monica Boulevard is not a beautiful place. Yeah. How about the sun coming up over the fucking pyramids? That would be a fun moment.
Not in 2012 on September 11th.
You think we're all going to get evaporated?
No, I mean right now, September 12th, or whatever the fuck it is right now that we're doing this. Right now, isn't there like a big blowback right now because of some sort of a Jewish film that the reason why they blew up the American embassy in Libya? This is probably not a good idea to be in Egypt.
Have you seen,
and be an American? A bunch of Americans were killed all over the country, all over the world.
Have you seen clips of that film?
No, I haven't. I don't know what it's about.
can't wait to show you.
What is
This is
it?
the most retarded, low-level production with the shittiest actors. It's the same guy who wanted to burn the Quran. He liked to help produce this thing.
Good. Good. We need to be aware of how dangerous those people are. We need to be aware of how fucking crazy and dangerous those people are. And if that's the only way we get aware, because other countries react in a very violent way to this fucking nonsense moron bullshit that those people put off, we should have cleaned up our own backyard long ago. We should not tolerate that cunt doing crazy shit like that. That guy's a fucking retard. And for him to be lighting up the streets like that, it's like, what are you using the Patriot Act for if not stopping that cunt?
That guy's a retard, but I'll tell you.
Burning the Quran.
I'll tell
What the fuck are you doing?
But that's no, here's the thing, man. I don't care what fucking religion you're in. If you're a literalist and a fundamentalist,
right, but that doesn't mean you have to burn the Quran. What the Quran
doesn't mean
represents.
you have to burn the Quran,
what
but
the
the person
Quran
who's worse is the people swarming because somebody made a low-level crap fucking movie poking fun at a fucking religion.
no doubt. But that's not the way to get at them. The way to get at them is not to make fun of them in a movie or to burn their books. That seems completely fucking ridiculous. The way to get at them is for them to understand that the only way that people can exist harmoniously is if we all respect and let each other do whatever the fuck we want to do. And we have to get off this idea that there's a religious war and that if you believe in this guy and I believe in that guy, we're ultimate enemies in heaven. And you're crazy. Like, well, you don't have to believe that. That's nonsense. And it doesn't mean that there's not something behind all of it. That there's not something behind every religious experience and every religious feeling that anybody's ever had. If you look at the general principles behind religion, like they almost mirror identically like psychedelic epiphanies.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. They're getting outside your ego.
Well, it's not just that. It's you getting outside your ego and then experiencing something that didn't exist in your own consciousness before. And in learning that, you really can move forward. And that's what these poor fools that are trying to enforce all these drug laws, they don't understand karmically what that's doing to themselves. They don't understand that that's not necessary, that you can exist in a world where everybody has a positive impact. I don't believe that in 2012, with the amount of information that we have available to us, I don't believe this is the only way to engineer a world. And this is why.
Right.
Okay? What if there's 10 of us, okay, and we all live on a certain plot of land, and we all have a job, and we all grow food, and we all do our chores, and we all have a great time, and we don't ever need to work again, right? Well, that, by the way, can be extrapolated to 100 billion people. If we all do our job, and we have resources, and we all live where there's resources, we're good. We really are. We really are. Our problem is the model that we're operating under is fucking severely flawed. Our problem is there's a lot of people out there that aren't really contributing much, and they are doing things that robots can do. And we have to figure out a way to make them productive. It's not that we have to fucking find more targets to open up so people can get shitty jobs that pay barely enough so you can stay alive. No, we got to figure out a way to raise people so that they actually become productive. We can't say that only a certain amount of people can become productive, and after that number, we don't need your contribution. That's nonsense. It could be 100% contribution. 100% of the people, if they're all elevated, they all get to another level of existence past where we're at now. We get to 50,000 years from now, 100,000 years from now. You got to assume that if we manage to keep going, we're going to get better at managing our whole interaction with people. If we can figure out a way to raise people correctly and all agree upon it, we got to assume that this is one stage on an infinite journey of progression where we're going to get smarter and better at everything, including better at being productive, better at having something that you contribute to this world. And I think that there is a possibility that with time and with learning and with understanding and with a better approach to teaching people that we can get to 100% production. I don't think that's impossible. I think our assumptions that it's impossible are what's so limiting. So when we look at, we got to figure out what to do with this. There's a lot of people that need jobs. A lot of people. No. We got to look at what we're doing with our time here on life. And we're going, is it really productive for you to get a job at the car wash. Is that what's productive? Is it really productive to even have fucking car washes? Like, if they're not making money, we need to figure out how human beings can all be productive in some sort of a system that makes sense, where we're producing enough food locally, where we're getting some benefit out of our skills, where we have a trade, where we contribute something that people enjoy and they're happy you're around and you get a good feeling from that. There's too many of us that are living completely alienated from that feeling of doing something worthwhile. They just have jobs. They just have shit jobs.
Let me ask you a question, because a lot of people are listening to this right now who maybe don't have a job, need a job. I know we got to wrap it up because we got to eat. People need a job. What's the practical advice right now to the people listening to this right now who like hear what you're saying and they want to be part of our society shifting into a better model? What's like some practical shit that we can do in our own personal lives to like head towards that shift?
The real problem with people is responsibilities that limit your time. Limit your free time to do what you actually want to do. If you have a mortgage, if you have a family, if you have an extra job that you do on the weekends to take it does not leave you with much time by yourself in order to move towards being a professional sculptor or in order to move towards anything you choose to try to participate in. Everything that you take on as a responsibility will be a hurdle that you have to overcome when you want to break free and change your life. And that's one of the hardest parts for people about changing their life. The real hard part is stopping one path and cutting through the woods and making a new path and developing momentum and changing. It's hard as shit, and I've done it one time in my life where I completely changed my whole path as a human being. From age 21, went from being completely engrossed in martial arts to being completely engrossed in stand-up comedy. It was a very strange change and a very strange path in my life, but I learned a lot about why people are not willing to do that, because you instantly become a fucking loser. Okay, I went from being a winner to a fucking loser instantly for the first time in a long time. It's like I was a loser my whole life, then I got really good at martial arts, and I'm a fucking killer. And then I go from being this scary killer state champion Taekwondo dude to being someone who sucks at comedy. Fucking sucks and might bomb anytime I get on stage. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a loser again. Like I went from being a loser to a winner. Like I finally got something where I could get good at, and then went right back to being a loser again. So I know that feeling. I know that it's hard to do that. But I also know that if you don't do what you really enjoy doing, you are going against nature. You're going against your own nature. You're going against... But you got to know what the fuck that really is. Some people don't know. Some people are just pulled to the idea of having a job. And some people could be happy with just having a job. It's the people that aren't happy with having a job but then accept just having a job that are the real problem.
I'm gonna ask a question as a person, and how, like, because I think some people are in this situation. I know we got to wrap this up, but I think it's an important question.
Okay.
I'm working in this fucking
railroad all the day long.
No.
All the live long day.
I'm working in this shitty fucking job, man. I work at like Blockbuster Video. I just moved out of the house with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I got a roommate. I'm not in college. Dude, I have no idea what I want to do. I'm kind of fucking fat.
Here's the problem with this. I don't know you. And here's the problem with this. I don't know what your potential is. I don't know. I don't agree that everyone's equal. I think that's nonsense. I have met people that have 9-volt battery brains, and their brain is like a shitty remote control that can barely change the TV.
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me.
Okay, but you're not talking about you. You're saying I'm asking the question for other people, and this is what I'm saying.
Is in terms. I used to work at a Blockbuster
but you're not.
Video.
But you already figured that out. You're not asking for you.
No, I'm trying to get you to throw a fucking rope out into the goddamn vortex.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't work for everybody. All you can do, no one can give you advice. All you can do is be inspired and move in the direction that seems the most rewarding for you, what would be the best case scenario? Would your best case scenario you be, I become a professional author and I shake the shackles of this fucking shitty 9-to-5 job that's completely unsatisfying and I write the great American novel? If that, you think about that and you say, I'm going to be the hero in my own movie, and I'm going to use this shitty job. I'm the guy who shows up at work, just like in the movies, and is like, I guess that's Bob in accounting. Well, that's your job as well. Okay, I'll talk to Bob in accounting. We'll work it out. Just swallow dick right at work. And then you go home that night and you pound out some ferocious fucking horror novel because that's the energy that's inside you, man. And it has to get out and it becomes a great story. Well, there was a time that I worked for this guy who was a fucking asshole. But I used my time and now I'm living in the Hamptons. And you know what I mean? It's like you can become the hero in your own film. But you have to adjust accordingly. I mean, it's a real fucking story. You got to really carve it out. And if you don't really carve it out, you're not going to goddamn appreciate the results. It's just like if you win the lottery. If you win the lottery, you're fucked. Give all that money to charity and start from scratch, bitch. All right? Build your own fucking shack. Figure out how to make a house. Get your shit together. If it all gets handed to you, you're not going to goddamn appreciate it.
Right.
And there's reward in work. There's reward in working at something and getting something back from it. There's reward at putting out energy and getting it back. I'm learning that more now, right now, than at any other time in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
From the podcast?
From the podcast, 100%.
Right.
That there's a direct response between you putting out good things, you putting out good energy and good real honest good thoughts, and then having that come back. And these crowds that we do. I mean, you've seen it. You've been a part of these shows.
It's insane.
They're incredible. They're so unusual. They're really unusual, right? Because they're not the crowds are not just great crowds. I mean, Daniel Tosh, I'm sure, gets great crowds too. We have like the nicest fucking people ever. It's weird, and they want to be nice. The waitresses always say the same thing. They always say how generous everybody is and how nice everybody is.
Yeah.
It's so rare that we have assholes.
It's very rare, man, because I think that we keep talking about this idea of, like, how the fuck do you accelerate your own personal evolution? And whenever we find tricks or things that we've learned, because one other thing that we're not doing is we're definitely not trumpeting some message where we figured everything out.
There's no way to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're at the front of all human beings alive right now. Everybody that has an iPhone, everybody that's on the internet, we are all collectively at the front of the line of the human experience. And what I mean by that is that we know more today as a unit, as a giant race. We know more today about what the human experience is all about than anybody has ever known ever. And the reality is, unless you're some fucking scientist at CERN that's working on the Large Hadron Collider, you probably don't have any more of a true grasp of what life is all about than the average 21-year-old who's been online since he was 8. You probably don't, man. You probably don't. It's all speculation. It's all craziness, and it's all being revealed to us for the very first time. This idea that you and I share that, like, I'm 45. How old are you?
38.
You're 38. What if we met some kid who was 21 who was intelligent? We would immediately assume that he was on our level, and we would communicate with him like, we would just like you let water seek its own level, communicate with someone on the level that they put forth. And I've talked to many 20-year-old kids that are super honest and intelligent, and I was like, I was not like that when I was 21. I wasn't that aware when I was 21. They'll start talking to you about weird shit that they knew about in the news.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know.
You didn't have Google, brother.
No, didn't have nothing like that. And but I think the difference is that this generation, for the first time ever, doesn't look at the other generations going, these kids today.
Oh, right.
You can't say these kids today.
No.
Because these kids today have just as much access to information as you do.
No, these kids today
have more.
They're more. They're fucking. The shit that they're doing is insane. When you see some of the stuff that their ability to, the way that they have just learned technology. They were born like, they were like, we were like. We're like land animals that learned how to swim. We weren't born on the land. We were born pre-internet, pre-technology. These fucking people were blasted into an ocean of technology. Their entire lives they've had access to the internet. There's never been a time where there was no internet. They know how to manipulate a computer.
Yeah, it's a completely different development of a unit. the development of a unit that has constant access to information as opposed to one that was isolated, like you and I were when we were children.
You know what made me so good at fucking computers?
Pussy?
Porn.
Yeah.
Finding fucking porn.
That's what I thought.
That's what made me so good at computers, is because like when the internet first hit, you had to be really smart. You had to have all these different, to watch a porn video, you had to have like special plugins. You might have to go into the fucking like code of your computer.
You had to get codecs.
Codecs, that's what they're called.
Yeah, I had to get those. I would be like, this is not supported. This codec's not supported. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I need to beat off. You son of a bitch.
Dude, Joe, I know we got to go. I wish we could fucking talk more, man.
Listen, dude. You and I have been friends for over a decade. We could do this all the time.
Yes.
We do this all the time. We just do this more often. And now that you don't argue with Red Band anymore, we'll soothe all this psychic bullshit out between you two. We'll do more of them, in the studio as well.
For
Look,
sure.
You're an awesome person, man. And sometimes I feel. I don't know what the word is. I feel uncomfortable that maybe you characterize our friendship as being somewhat imbalanced sometimes. You're like, oh, you help me so much, you do so much for me. You help me a lot too, dude.
Thank you.
And you're one of my favorite human beings to talk to, and I think you and I have the craziest fucking conversations. And just because I've been on Fear Factor or whatever the fuck it is, it makes you think that that it's imbalanced in any way, shape, or form. It's not, man. And I think that if you were doing what I was doing, we always talk about like helping out our friends and publicizing our friends' gigs and and all banding together and supporting each other. You would do the exact same thing. I really think you would be right there. You'd probably be more generous than I am. You're. It's very important for me, like, to have guys like you in my life. It's very important because you really truly are like one of the few people that I know that's like really a brave thinker, because you really will take some really crazy thoughts and really explore them honestly. And when you and I talk about them, it's a very rare thing that I only have with a few friends, where I can talk to you and I don't have to put anything through a filter. I can just listen to what you say about something, and I can try to just experience it through your words, or try to, accept the impressions of your words and try to figure out, how you, knowing you as a personality, how you experienced it. Whereas with so many other people I know, I have to put things through a filter of an honesty filter, an ego filter, I have to say, well, where does our relationship stand? Do they think that I think they're a loser, and they might be bragging a little bit here to show me how awesome they are now?
Right.
And there's weird things that can happen when you're communicating with people. But it's like there's only a few people that I know, half a dozen, where I can really just like listen to everything they say and just absorb it. And you're one of them, man. And you're one of the most unique thinkers that I've ever met. You're a really fun guy to talk to, man.
Thank
I'm
you,
really
Joe.
so glad that we're friends.
Likewise, man. Absolutely, man. You were the very first person to take me out on the road. Think about that. And really consider that, dude. Like I can remember like coming off stage at the Comedy Store. I didn't even know you'd watch my set. If I'd known, I probably would have bombed because I would have been nervous as fuck. But I remember like coming off stage, I'd done some joke. I don't even know what it was. I passed you. We didn't know each other that well, man. You were like, that was fucking hilarious. And you gave me this big hug. And I remember like trying to play it cool. And then like when I walked away from it, I was like, holy shit, I might actually be funny.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
So yeah, man.
There's a real important moment when comedians get recognized by their peers.
Yes, it's the biggest moment.
It's very important.
And it burns into your head. And anyway, man, you do that not just for me, but you've done it for a lot of people. And we're fucking friends. And I know that like ultimately there's no hierarchy or anything, but I'll always look up to you. There's no way you're going to fucking keep it from happening. Because I like it. It's fun.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the fuck out of it.
Cool,
and
man.
It's always fun doing these podcasts. And I really, truly believe that together we our minds come to some weird conclusions that we might not have even gone down those roads if not for each other's presence.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's probably going to end up with us in a FEMA camp. It's been fun.
I think we get together with all these fucking people at the top of the heap, and when at the fucking the last strike before midnight, they bring us in and say, okay, explain mushrooms.
Yes, but I'll tell you.
All right, let's get, what is this DMT all about? Bring it over here. You give Obama DMT, and he just
Look,
goes,
yeah.
whoa, call the fucking press.
This is great. Yeah.
I got to get on CNN. I just talked to Jesus.
Hey, but now that me and Red Band are best friends again, we can.
You guys are besties?
Now that we're friends again, we're lovers again. We can have that big fucking festival now, man. We can do something.
We need to have a festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do something. Well, we're taking the first step. We're going to try this End of the World show on December 21st, 2012. And it's me and Diaz and Honey Honey and Doug Stanhope. And it's at the Wiltern Theater. So we're going to do that. And then from there, we're going to move on to biannually, annually,
We got to do
quarterly.
something out in the desert, baby. And, hey,
Whenever someone says that to you, ladies and gentlemen, just as a rule, when someone says, we got to do something out in the desert, baby, fucking run. Run in the other direction. That person doesn't have your fucking instinct. Listen, folks, realistically, why do you need to be in the desert for this? The desert has no water. It's hot as fuck. There's spiders and snakes. Don't go to the desert.
the
Listen to
desert's
me.
beautiful. That's where Jesus went. That's where Muhammad went. We go to the desert. We all commune with each
Anything
other.
you do in the desert can be accomplished in Silver Lake. You just need to have a fucking window that you can lock and turn the AC up so you don't hear any outside noise. It can all be done. You don't need to go to the goddamn
Regardless
desert.
of the geographical location, we got to do something fucking awesome. And for those of you who are on the East Coast, I'm going to be at the Laughing Skull at the End of the World on December 21st, 2012 in Atlanta.
Love
so
that
come
club.
to that. I'm taping my CD.
And by the way, if you're not a vegan, Laughing Skull might have the greatest fucking cheeseburgers in the history of the universe.
Vortex Grill.
The Vortex Grill upstairs, I'm not fucking around. They might be the best goddamn cheeseburgers on the planet Earth.
Delicious. Joe, you're on Joe Rogan on Twitter. Any shows coming up?
Yeah, you and I are going to be in Asheville, North Carolina, November 28th and November 29th. Is that what it is?
Yep.
No, September.
Raleigh.
September.
Oh, September.
We're talking about November.
Right.
It's in September. That's how high we
It's
are.
on my website, DuncanTrussell.com.
Yeah, September 28th and September 29th. The 28th we're in Raleigh. The 29th we're in Asheville. First time for Asheville. I've never been. Duncan says I'm going to move there. I'm ready. It's supposed to be fucking awesome.
I did a lot of acid.
I talked to a girl, from Asheville in the news. Very nice girl. I won't throw her under the bus. However, I'm having conversations with her, and she goes, okay. I go, what are you doing? She goes, I'm writing this down. I go, you don't even have a typewriter? She goes, no, man, my computer totally broke. So I'm just like writing. And I go, okay. I go, you doing shorthand? She's like, well, it's my shorthand that I made up. I'm like, okay, well, good luck with that. I'm just thinking, what the fuck kind of quotes is she going to get from me?
Oh, Joe. Wait till I take you to fucking the tour of Asheville. My God, I've seen Baphomet in Asheville.
Yeah.
I've taken so much acid in Asheville. I've seen demons in Asheville. I cannot wait to go back to Asheville.
We're going to have some fun, man.
So, yeah, we'll see you guys there.
Yeah, go
Joe,
to.
thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much, man.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Now some Daniel Johnston from his album White Magic. This is called Life is Full of Joy.